Welcome back. We're still talking sports right here at Channel TV Sports Center in Lagos, Nigeria. And we're having fun with the discussion, particularly on sports development in Nigeria. Remember, we're still reviewing sports in 2016, and this can actually help. You know why? Because we can take all of these thoughts into 2017 to consolidate on what we have achieved in 2016. So you can be part of the discussion on Twitter. We're channels_sports, Facebook channels Life in Sports. We asked the question on Twitter that how can the talents we have discovered be sustained in Nigeria? And before we went on that break, Chinedu said something that just hit the chords right there on the minds of the analysts. And then Okudili Noel, I like what he said. Says they can be sustained by engaging them in top and regular activities, monitored and encouraged.
Pretty much.
And also, I don't know why I keep saying this. Is mutually beneficial. Don't feel you're throwing money away.
Exactly.
I'm talking about the government and the private sector. You're not throwing money away.
That's
you
right.
are investing this money, and if you're patient enough and you do your due diligence, you're going to reap. That's sure.
That's right. Reap. Faith Itoan, she's not talking about how we can sustain this athlete. She's saying, good evening, guys. On Segun Toriola, I want the Kenyans to know that we are not yet tired, so they should take their minds off him. You see, but a time comes, these athletes, they want a better life. They have responsibilities, and if you don't show them the sort of appreciation that they deserve.
Bills to pay.
Bills to pay.
There you go. And then Kenya said, come. We'll take care of you. They will go. So it's all about service. We understand, but they also need to take care of themselves. Felix Oloyede on Twitter says, having the right sporting policies, and administrators to drive them will do the magic.
I don't know. I think we've got a sports policy. I used to be one of those people that feels that Nigeria does not particularly have a sports ideology or policy.
It's not about having those policies, Cosmos. Implement.
That is what I'm saying. We have got good sports policies. I mean, a veteran journalist, Mitchell Obi, actually said something like that. We've got good sports policy, but the problem is implementation of those policies. Another problem is the structures that will create an enabling environment to make sure that those sports policies work in Nigeria. And that is the problem we have. We've got them, but like we say, it has to do with the kind of environment that we live in. I just hope that those people that are supposed to create the enabling environment are actually listening.
Another problem we have basically is, it's not just with football, everywhere. We're tournament driven. We want short-lived success.
That's right.
And look, a lot of people said one or two things about the NFF president when he said maybe we should pull out of some competitions. I agree with him. What's the essence? What's the essence of what's the benefit of winning the FIFA Under-17 World Cup when in the next 5 years I'm not going to see those boys again? What have I gained?
Seriously.
What if I put that money into a structure that ensures the league develops?
Good.
You know, they make provision for age grade teams. They have competitions.
Exactly.
I mean, when last have you seen England they don't even care. They just play the one for Europe.
They actually go for under 17 and
they barely make impact. That's the point I'm trying to make. They barely make impact. But it does not stop the growth. That's where I'm going.
It does not. Development.
Those guys, you can say they are overhyped. Well, that's your opinion. They are producing those guys on a regular basis. Right. And that's why Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, all of those guys will exit the scene, and you will already have. At some point, we were almost begging JJ Okocha to come back because there was nothing. And until we get to the point where we really, put structures in place. I mean, you don't see any Brazilian player under the age of 18 go to Europe. They have a structure that keeps their best. And look, Eto said, a lot of people do not agree. Eto said, look, if I was a Brazilian, I would have won the FIFA Footballer of the Year many times. True. And he knows what he's saying. For instance, being Brazilian, you're not going to play for those cheap. You're not going to find your way in Bulgaria. You understand? You have a structure that just props you up.
That's right.
It throws you up. Yeah. A lot of people said Neymar was not worth the money. Well, that's your business.
Well, that's your business.
That's your business.
But he's actually showing it.
It comes from a country where he is valued.
Exactly.
And they ensure. I mean, they ensure that he went to Europe at the right time.
Austin, it still boils down to the structure, like we said. There's no structure. If there's a structure in ground, a structure that would create that enabling environment for sport to thrive in Nigeria, then certainly we're going to. South Africa is doing that. They are doing that, not just in football. It cuts across every sport, and that is why they are doing well in the 400 meters. I mean, you see that young guy at the Olympics, a whole lot of them to both in streaming and all that. So that structure is very important. It's not as if South Africa is better than Nigeria when it comes to sport talent. Like I said earlier, it's not just about developing or discovering sports people. It's about nurturing them. It's about creating that environment for them to make sure that they thrive. Simple.
I agree. Just take this in the light of reviewing sports in Nigeria in 2016. Hopefully in 2017 we'll not be talking about all of this. But in 2017 we'll be having the African Cup of Nations, and I mean Nigeria, sadly, so disappointing, but that's what it is. Part of the reasons why we're having this talk, Nigeria will not be part of it. Other countries are getting ready. We hear Gabon, they have their list now, and Ghana will be going to, they will be preparing in Accra and the United Arab Emirates.
Yeah, talking about Gabon, they're hosting it for the second time in recent time, and there's no way you talk about Gabon and you talk about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Starman, Ndong that plays for Sunderland also. Despite having one or two issues the last time he was called up, he also makes that squad. I mean, it's an ambitious squad, and they are hoping for the best. Their first game will be against Guinea-Bissau, and they are hoping to do well. They have a couple of unknown players. They have a couple of players playing abroad, some in Africa, but they're doing well. So we'll see how far they can go. They've chosen 23 players. They have 3 players on standby. So it means the coach pretty much knows the guys that will be playing for him. For him to have done that now, I mean, he could have waited till January, at least that deadline. But he has chosen his squad, and we'll see how far they can go. And for us as Nigerians, well, maybe this will be the first time we'll be dispassionate about things. If Nigeria is involved, sometimes the patriotism gets the best of you. But then, may the best team win.
That's right.
The best team win.
But
I'm very sure Borussia Dortmund will not be feeling fine right now.
Let's talk about Ghana, Cosmos. No Nigeria, so you want to look next to your African next door neighbor, say Ghana can do it. They are getting ready. But administration is also important when you're going for competition, and they seem to be shaky.
Yeah, well, they seem to be shaky, but then they don't want it to affect the Black Stars of Ghana. I mean, they're not particularly doing well. They are not doing well at the 2018 Russia 2018 World Cup qualifiers. They've only picked up 1 point. They're not doing well at all, and this is the last chance for Avram Grant to make sure that he gets out something. And of course, they know that we know that they'll be training in Accra, and they'll be traveling to the United Arab Emirates for preparation. Traveling to the United Arab Emirates is something I do not understand, but maybe they just want a place where they will just go and have some sort of distraction and all that. So I think that is a good one for them. But they know that this is their chance of winning the African Cup of Nations since 1984. Yes, that was the last time that they won the African. 1982. Libya 82. Yes, that was the last time that they won the African Cup of Nations. At that time, it was the Nations Cup of Africa, and they know that this is their last chance. And I mean, Nigeria is not going to be in this one, although there's some other tough African countries in this one as well. And they know that they need to go and to make sure that they win. They got into the finals the last time against the Ivory Coast. They got into the finals in 2010 too against Egypt.
In 92 as well.
They got into the final. 92 was supposed to be the closest time for them to win, but they couldn't win at that one as well. So they've got into the final since about 6 times since they last won the African Cup of Nations in 82. They got to the final. I think they got to the finals. They got to the finals in 92. They got to the final. They got to the finals in 2010. They got to the finals in the last edition to 3 times. They have come close in all the times as well, getting to the semi-finals and all that. So they want to make sure that they win this one, and probably it will, bring out their best in the already shaky World Cup qualifier
Yeah,
for them.
but say what you like about Ghana. I still see Ghana as pre-tournament favorites.
Yeah,
what you
pretty
like.
much.
They come to this tournament. The fans have lost patience with Abraham Grant. We must say that, but they have a good squad. I'm still particularly impressed with how they were able to make that under-20 winning side transit to the senior national team.
True.
And that has been the bedrock of their performances since then, and how they've been able to, those star players leave the scene gently and quietly, and the younger ones are doing the job. We saw how close they were the last time. We took penalties for the Ivorians to be able to win. And you look across now, apart from maybe Egypt, because the defending champions are having problems.
Yeah.
Senegal, well, they have a lot of players, but as a team, I don't know. So Ghana is still a force to reckon with. And, since Nigeria is not there, they're my brothers. So, but I'm just joking.
It's an African competition.
But Ghana, Egypt, I'll be looking at those two teams. But I have a feeling, I don't know why, that the Ghanaians, it might just be their time.
If it's going to be their time, then they need to change some of their tactics. I mean, Avantgarde needs to try as much as possible to understand that he doesn't have to play by the wings. He needs to play in the middle of the pack. They've been playing from the wings. If you watch their first game in the World Cup qualifier against Uganda, the one they played in Kumasi, that was a game that they should have won, but then they were playing in the wings. They were not playing in the middle of the pack. And whenever they meet Asamoah, they don't play well.
Tournaments don't always go that way.
That is why that's why I said if it changes his tactics, maybe they will probably complete. But if it's the same tactics, no.
Tournaments don't always go that way.
I think they should just stick to their 4-5.
I remember in 2013, after the first two games,
oh my God,
a lot of us said so many things about Stephen Keshi.
Good night.
Some FA officials were already booking their tickets back home.
But it changed his tactics. That is what I'm saying.
Point is, tournaments don't always go that way. Don't always consider the form of it, especially a big team.
That's right.
Before the tournament,
that's right.
When they get into that tournament,
sometimes it's psychological, it's mind game, because they know you are reading them.
Whatever was not working, they might just get there and it starts to work. But on the continent, I mean, you just have to show it.
Anything can happen.
I know. Let's leave it. I know. If you leave these guys, they'll keep going with African football. Let's talk about the English Premier League home stretch now. What a season it's becoming for Liverpool. Results coming in. Liverpool 4, Stoke City 1. And it was actually Stoke City
that actually got the first goal.
And then Liverpool fire.
I mean, Joe Allen was hot in the first half for Stoke City, but Liverpool, they pulled the chestnut out of the fire and, got those goals. And when they got those goals, brings them back to the second position. The third position. Yeah, the third position brings them back to the third position. I like the fact that there's a competition when it comes to points between the first and the fourth. In fact, the sixth in the English Premier League. Chelsea are really doing well, but Liverpool have something about them. There's something about Liverpool this season that is awesome. I mean, it's as if Jurgen Klopp came in and just made a bits of changes. Yeah, they are still very shaky in the defense, but on the run of play,
that's basically the only problem.
But on the run of play, they are awesome. Trust me, if Coutinho comes back into this squad, they'll be hot again. But then they really need to tighten the loose nuts in the back. Yeah,
and if Chelsea slips, and you're looking at a team that can be consistent with the way it has been, I think it's Liverpool. If they can fix the goalkeeping department and the defense. Coutinho has not played, they've been winning games. And that's a good sign if you're going to win.
Storage hasn't been consistent.
They've been winning games.
Yeah.
But it's got today.
Sadio Mane is going to the Nations Cup. Somebody else will come in. Divock Origi has done a good job.
Exactly. Lanana is also good.
So we'll see how all of that pans out.
Okay, this one should also get us talking Southampton and Tottenham, the English Premier League. Guys, after the Boxing Day fixtures, you start seeing signs of teams that can,
the contenders and the pretenders,
either win or make the top four.
Teams that can run the race, teams that will visual out. But I think Tottenham has a lot to prove, and I feel that they will still be in it. I don't see them as title contenders, but I see them as a team that could be in the UEFA Champions League. So I still feel that they will finish in the top 4.
But Southampton happens to be a banana peel if Tottenham are not careful about it. I mean, they're going to be playing at the at their home.
That's St. Mary's.
It's usually a very difficult place to play for anything in any level in the English Premier League, whether it's in the English Premier League or in the English Football League or is in the FA Cup. It's really a very difficult one to play. So Tottenham will want to make sure that they win to create, to make that momentum to continue for the top 4.
Okay, before we wrap up the show, spare thoughts about Bradley. 85 days at Swansea.
Sad,
my God, coaching.
7 straight loss in 11 matches. They're flirting with relegation. The same position Guidolin was when he was sacked. Same position Bradley was. And the guy said, look, we don't want to go down. We have to take a decision. Thank you, Bob, but you have to go. That's the story. And it's really sad. He's an experienced manager. But I think some of these national team managers should try their hands. It's a thankless job. Club football is thankless, and some of them are facing the reality. But that's the next casualty.
And I'm hearing that another former United States coach might probably be taking over in Jurgen Klinsmann. I'm hearing. So let's just hope. Let's see what happens.
Thank you so much, Cosmos Chukwemeka, for coming around.
Thank you so much.
Ayemi Adebayo. Thank you. This guy's letting go. Just as far as they said, Bob, leave and take Bradley with you. But that's it. Coaches are hired to be fired. Remember, you can keep talking to us on Twitter. We're channels_sports. Facebook channels IFE Sports. That's the show on behalf of the ever-winning sports team at Channel TV Sports Center in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm Austin Okonakman in everything you do. Remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.